Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, college football fans across the nation and around the world. This is yet another Tim May podcast, and I've really obviously enjoyed doing these things, especially in the last several months, because I've gotten to meet a lot of interesting people along the way as the Big Ten has wrestled on whether to play or not to play, and by that I mean in the fall, in October. As we record this, confidence is extremely high that the Big Ten is going to rule. Will have already ruled or will rule in the next several days that there will be a return to play possibly by mid-October. That's why I brought in my special guest again for this week. We've had him on a couple of times before, but Dr. Corey M. Teague, and the last name is familiar. He is the father of Master Teague III. He is a professor for want of another term at Middle Tennessee State. He is a professor of some repute. And Dr. Teague, thanks for joining me again.
No problem. Glad to be here.
Let's just get right to the brass tacks of it. As I talked to you before we started this thing, I really do believe that the way you parents stepped up and stepped out vocally and in writing has kind of helped the Big Ten get to this point. What is your take on that? What is the influence you think you folks had in this whole thing?
Yeah, I could agree with that there was some influence there. I see life, I see things like puzzles. Any situation has a lot of different pieces to it. And I think that's one piece to it. The parents speaking up and supporting our sons and things like that. So it is one piece to it. I think it was an important piece, but then you also got to have another piece of that is the people that will listen to us. And of course, you guys did that, and you and some other, other media sources and things like that were able to pay attention to us. So that's another piece to it. And then just everyone getting involved in that, just speaking up, speaking out, even if it's the families, the parents, then that triggers fans or just people that are maybe not even fans, but just to start to look at the situation and speak up about it. And so, yeah, so I think I do think it did play a role.
How much do you think visual evidence plays a role too, of sitting for 2 weeks and watching other conferences, both large and small, play football, seeing high schools playing football, seeing the NFL kick off with no fans in the stands in a lot of places, but the fact that they did play football games? How much do you think visual evidence has helped spur this?
I mean, I would think it had to see other people doing it and doing it safely. That's good evidence. And so I definitely believe that. And that's why I was, in my own heart, I was hoping that the other conferences were able to do it, were able to play for that visual evidence, but at the same time, just for the, the institution of football itself to survive, and the young people the young guys get to play it, and because their career, their careers and their education is maybe at stake there. And so that last 2 weeks have been great to watch that. It's been great to watch it. Bittersweet because we could be playing ourselves, but at the same time, man, I hope they're watching this and maybe even talking to some of these people to see what they're doing or not. I mean, I don't know, but definitely, the last 2 weeks have been pretty good to see.
Yeah, and you guys, meaning parents, et cetera, and everybody who's been sort of an advocate for return to play, let them play, as Ryan Day so eloquently put it last week, which I thought was, like I said, that was as audacious a statement by an Ohio State football coach as I've ever seen. And I've been covering Ohio State football since 1984, and I know about Woody Hayes and stuff. But to stand up for your players and the idea of let them play, because that's a pretty bold statement in a situation where your conference has deemed they aren't ready to play yet. Do you agree? I mean, what did that do for you from the standpoint of from a standpoint of reputation with Ryan Day, with you, from the standpoint he stood up for his players and his players' families?
Yeah, it's just another, I don't know if it's icing on the cake, but it's definitely another piece of evidence that Coach Day supports our boys. I've had conversations with him just over the phone, just with him, and then of course the Zooms and things like that. And so you get the sense that, man, yeah, he definitely does. And then to go public with it as well, like I said, that's just another another piece of that evidence, another piece of evidence that where his support is.
Yeah.
And to speak out and say that, even though right now they're questioning, and I'm sure he knows, he's been a part of it. I mean, he definitely knows. He's been in this situation, he's been more than the head coach in the sense of trying to get this, make this thing safe for our guys, and what they did over the summer. I mean, so yeah, man, it just adds to, I guess, that faith that he is where he stands, you know, as it relates to our sons.
Over the last several weeks, have you become more confident or less confident that if in fact they do return to play, the Big Ten, you know, Ohio State, that things will be as safe as possible for your son, Master Teague III? I mean, where do you stand the more you've learned about this process, but the more you've also learned about the COVID-19 situation, et cetera? What is your feel on that, Dr. Teague?
Yeah, I would think it's my level of confidence has increased with the last 2 weeks and other teams playing.
Yeah.
And so that confidence has increased. I was pretty confident about it before, but now, like you say, you have some visual evidence. It's kind of like getting that that hands-on training, even though I'm watching someone else do it. So it's like, yeah, I can see that, man. I can, you know, even look at that and see that, and I can learn from that and imitate that, emulating it as well. And so, man, it's the confidence is there. I think the time clock ticking is where it's kind of like you got this confidence sitting here, but you got this time clock on the other side, and you know, are they going? When are they going to clash? And so hopefully they don't. So hopefully they don't, and hopefully we get a decision in the middle of that, and we get to move on and say, all right, man, let's do this, and we still got time. Yeah,
and you know, you've been paying attention. There also have been games that have been postponed. You know, like Virginia Tech, things already been postponed indefinitely. Things like that. So there is vigilance out there about this thing. This COVID-19 can be a real thing, but can be. And so does that bother you, or because I've been looking at it like, well, really though, the difference between that situation and January, will there be any difference? You know what I mean, in the standpoint of the jeopardy teams are facing it. Are you looking at it in that same way of, unless a vaccine suddenly comes along, you know, we're going to be sitting here, if they had waited till January, you'd still be sitting here wondering whether you could play, right? If you follow my drift.
Yeah, I follow you on that. Yeah, I guess I would say I would think the concerns would be the same, or it would be any different now and then, even if you have a vaccine, you know, because I don't know, you know, people can still contract things with a vaccine. So what do we do then? Are we still saying, you know, the contact tracing, even if you have the vaccine, that kind of thing. And so, you know, that I think those questions will still be there. And so I don't see the difference of waiting. You know, I don't see the difference of playing now and playing then. I don't see that.
Talk to me a little bit about the Zoom meetings that Coach Day and his staff have had with you parents. How frequent were those? Were they once a week, once a month? I mean, just give people an understanding who don't get to experience that, of how they did keep you guys in the loop.
Yeah, they were frequent enough, because when I say that, because, you know, some of them I wasn't able to make, but what they did, they recorded those for us, and so I could go back and watch what the meeting was about. And so, I mean, there was a number of them. There was just a number of them. You know, they would, you know, they say, hey, we're going to meet. Sometimes we would know a week ahead of time. Sometimes we know 2 days ahead of time. And it's just them wanting to keep us in the loop in front of about things. So they were frequent. And it wasn't. There was no sense of being left in the dark.
Yeah.
When it came to what they were going to do, they laid it out on what they were going to do. And then they followed up to show us that they were doing what they said they were going to do. And so that was really good. That was now that you know, that was transparency right there. And I loved it.
Yeah. You know, you're sitting here today though, as we talk, you still don't know what put the Big Ten over the edge 4 weeks ago when they decided to postpone the season till the spring. you're still not clear on what finally led to that decision. Am I correct on that?
I'm correct on that. I don't know what finally led to the decision. I mean, unless it's something I'm missing, I don't know, how they came to the decision. Was it within the bylaws, how things are supposed to happen, which then puts you in a position where, okay, I don't have that transparency. So even in the position where we are now, is there a need for a vote?
Yeah.
What other season did people vote to play? So, it's like they have these meetings today or yesterday, I think it was. And so once you have all the information, and I'm hesitating because I don't know, I feel like I don't know what I'm talking about in the sense of what they're doing.
Yeah.
The transparency is missing. I'll say, are they voting? Are they just trying to feel good about it? And then someone that's a leader is going to step up and lead and say, hey, we feel good about this. We plan, and if you don't want to play your university play, then that's on you.
Yeah.
So I don't,
Yeah, that's what I told everybody. I mean, everybody kept talking about a vote, like it's like a presidential election or something. I go, the way I've always understood it is more of like you're either in or you either are in to play or you don't feel comfortable about playing, but maybe you don't keep the other 12 or the other 10 schools that are comfortable from playing. I mean, and I think that's more of the way to maybe define it but then you have to decide, well, wait a minute though, if we're not comfortable about playing, should we still get at least some share of the revenue that you're going to generate by playing? You know what I mean? And then, there are all those questions that have to be answered because it's not really just a snap of the finger kind of like situation in that regard.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they've been wrestling with,
Yeah, I can see wrestling with that in a sense of, I understand processing. Things are bigger than what they might seem, and decisions are more complex than what they might look like.
Yeah.
But I think that, it's okay for us to know that. Even if we don't know who's at this point in time not wanting to play, but at least know that, these are the decisions that's being made. And even if you just tell the coaches and then they would inform, the players and the parents, just so okay, all right, so now we understand, and so we get an idea of time frame and all that, and but it's just and you hope people are competent, right?
Yeah.
The other leagues are competent, so you just hope our league is competent.
What's interesting to me, one of the more eye-opening parts of that Ryan Day statement last week was the fact that I think the coaches had just come off a Zoom meeting with the commissioner, with the Big Ten commissioner, et cetera, and he was even still perplexed on why they weren't playing. Well, I don't know. What does it tell you about the organization, Dr. Teague, that even Ryan Day, who's the head coach of one of the 14 teams, it's still not clear to him why they weren't playing. Does that trouble you?
Yeah, it troubles me. It troubles me. I would say that it's not a good look, in the sense of, man, you don't. I don't like to accuse people of things. I like to have facts and things. But if you keep getting a look that's not good, nothing's fitting. Like I said, the puzzle pieces, the way I put things together, and this piece of the puzzle is not fitting. And either I don't have all the information, or this is not the truth. And so it's just not a good look. So it is, to just not be able to put your finger on it, or someone to articulate something to you the way you can walk away and say, okay, I got enough. I got adequate information. Man, that's it sounds insensitive if it's done on purpose, or poor communication. I mean, like I said, I don't like to accuse people, but hey, it's hard when you for this long stuck in a position.
Yeah, I was going to say, because he's getting the same question from you guys, you parents, as he's trying to ask, and you can't give an answer. You can't give an answer that you don't know the answer to, right? I mean, that's got to put him in a very tough situation.
Yeah. I know it does. Like
Yeah.
I said, I've had conversations, but it's it is tough, and so hopefully, but yeah, just these pieces that are missing is hard to wrap your head around them, to speak about them, to be articulate about it. It's just it's difficult. So man, it's you hate that your sons are have to be involved in that.
Yeah.
Um, it's just it's confusion.
Yeah, because it affects them more than anyone else. And, it seems like the people you're affecting the most should have the most information of why you're affecting them, right?
And I know they're not quite, definitely, because I know they're not quite professionals yet, but at Ohio State, that's what they're, you can see your son moving towards that, just the way they take care of their bodies and the mindset about things. And so these guys are, on their way to being that, but if not already have that mindset, and then to be put into something like this, that really can throw you off. You have to be pretty sound in mind, and a lot of our guys stay focused, to stay. Because they're developing that professionalism that they need for the next level, and from this skill building to maintaining the skill that you build. I mean, it's we gotta let these guys loose.
Yeah, the discipline it takes to move to the next level. Exactly. Hey, last thing, a couple of players, Shaun Wade and Wyatt Davis, opted to step out. I mean, and those are big pieces on this football team. And obviously those two young men were captains. And especially Shaun Wade's dad, Randy, was one of the leaders of this movement. That you've been part of too. Just what's your thought? Just your general thought when you heard those guys were stepping away and deciding to focus on moving on to the NFL. Just what was your general thoughts about that? Because y'all were kind of in a cause together, and maybe they decided to opt out. Go ahead.
Yeah, it went in different directions. I know these guys. I watch them, and I know that they're great players and they're great teammates. And so so one, the team itself, losing some great players and great teammates and great leaders. And so the team itself, we're losing that. I do understand. I won't say I understand fully, but I understand how that decision may come across some of the guys, and I'm sure there may be other guys on the team that may be in the same boat. But so I understand that way. So it's bittersweet. It's kind of like Wyatt Davis said, it's bittersweet because you do. And then my own son, man, you want your son to be on the team with greatness.
Yeah.
You want them to play with greatness. You want them to be around greatness. You want them to so at least those two guys right now, he won't have a fall season with. And so that, you hate to see that. And, the parents, I'm sure, like you said, I've talked to Randy and I've been around him, and to make that decision, that's not an easy decision. Not that it's any of my business or anything like that, but, you do wonder, man, you wonder how they came to it and why they came to it, with the question mark right now as far as an October start. But that's, when it comes to that, it boils down to the inner circle, I would say.
Yeah.
In their family and making that decision. So I do wish them well, man. I wish them well, and but I do. You just hate that. You hate to think that that was forced on them.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable. But you hate to think that was, and
because of the circumstances. Yeah.
Yeah, because of the circumstances, it was forced on them in the sense of question marks about the season and when the season would start, and that type of. So you hate to see that.
Yeah, just the timing of those decisions is what is a little bit interesting to me. Just when there's momentum, you think that the Big Ten is definitely going to play maybe by mid-October. It's just the timing of those. And like you touched on it, it kind of gave me goosebumps a little bit. They knew they were going to be part of a great team this year. This is a great assemblage of players, talent, people. I mean, there's some great people on this football team. And you know, you may never get that again. No, you know, whoever drafts you, you may be in a great organization, but you may never be on a part of a great team again, you know, because you know how the NFL is.
Yeah.
I mean, there
Yeah.
have nots there. And that's the only thing I regret for them is passing up this chance to be a part of something, you know, and you never know what the end point's going to be, right? Or what's going to be the ending to this. But going in, man, you know it, you feel it, right? This has the potential to be one of the great teams.
Yeah, you do get it. You get that. I feel it. You know, I've watched football and played football, and you know, you watch these guys, and you just get. I mean, just very solid everywhere. When I talk about positions, you know, and the leadership that's there, like you said, and the guys that are there, and just all of that. You know, all the way around from athletics to character in the sense of holding each other responsible and accountable, and how they've done this even during this this virus thing. And so man, it's you just hope, like you said, you hope that it's difficult. It takes work to put a team together like that. It's man.
Yeah. Too bad. Last thing. Put you on the spot here. Do you think December the 19th, do you think you will be in Indianapolis watching Ohio State play for a Big Ten championship? What is your gut feeling telling you right now?
December 19th?
19th, yeah. Let's say, if they do start the season mid-October, what is your sense?
Oh, yeah, we'd definitely be there.
Okay.
I think we'll definitely be there. You're talking about playing for that championship?
Yeah, playing for the championship. We'll get to that point? You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we'll be there. I think we'll win it. But yeah, when you say the hope and the gut feeling, I'm gonna say yes to that.
Ladies and gentlemen, positive thinking. That's what I like about Dr. Corey M. Teague, the father of Master Teague, the third Ohio State running back, but just an entity in his own right. Dr. Teague, thanks for joining me on the Tim May podcast once again.
No problem, sir. You have a great one.
You too, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.